This video gets rowdy, and in it we look at this young heifer who has a very gnarly back foot.
And this is her mummy.
Can you see a resemblance?
And I won't let it rush when I see you dance, and the moment comes when I fall and time goes slow. I fall into you.
Today you're joining us at our second farm of the day in South Scotland's glorious sunshine.
Right off the bat I knew I loved you. You had that sparkle in your eyes.
It's just after 10 AM here in southwest Scotland, and we've been on the go since just after 6 this morning. But our bellies are full of bacon rolls, and having just trimmed 40 cows, we're hoping that the task that lies ahead of us is an easy and simple one.
Lovely. So we have anywhere between 25 and 35-ish to do today. James's cows predominantly live outside, so they go the whole year living a really naturalistic type of lifestyle, and obviously their feet kind of overgrow during that time. Then they come inside because in Scotland our winters are too cold and too wet for them to be outside, and that is when the problems strike. But you need to make sure they're not sort of within calving periods and things like that. So sometimes overgrowth can be fairly extreme, but you don't really want to upset their natural lifestyle by bringing them in too often and really upsetting them. Anyway, we do need to get set up. These cows are beef cows. They're not worked with that often, so they are fairly wild, so we need to make sure our setup is bang on. Oh, and I should probably get changed first, shouldn't I? That's better, isn't it? Two poles, please. So we're going to set these two gates up here, or two hurdles up here, with the guillotine gate at the back. And we actually use James's race in reverse. It just works out the best here. It's funny putting those hurdles together. I remember first starting out and not being able to afford a crush, and always fantasising that I could afford hurdles like that one day.
That wasn't a joke. It was something I always wanted, as good and as a professional a setup as possible. And now I have that, and we can work as safely as possible with these cows. Sometimes I worry it looks like we take a long time to set up, but in reality, you're seeing this almost in real time. It takes less than 10 minutes for us to completely set up, from arriving at the farm to getting the first cow into the crush. I said these cattle can be wild earlier, and I probably used the wrong words to be fair. These cows are just scared. They're not sure what's happening, but they do know they've been separated away from the rest of the herd, so their ears are up and they're truly on their guard. Which means we have to be as careful as we possibly can, both for our safety and for the safety of the animals that we are looking after. Once she's in the safety and confines of our race, it's fairly straightforward because she knows what we need her to do.
Feisty one to begin with. You can see this is what's wrong. Just this little bit of overgrowth here, and this can go wrong quickly. Too much pressure on here now that these cows are inside means that this would become bruised and become a real issue. Thankfully though, with a few swipes of this grinder, she should be absolutely fine.
When you have a cow who's all wound up like this, in the crush, the first thing you want to do is get her back out. We want her to be as safe as possible. The crush is fantastic at holding the cows steady and still, but at the end of the day, these cattle are incredibly strong, and they're very apt to hurting themselves at every opportunity.
And when it comes to her back right foot, it's going to be exactly the same. Look, too much height equals too much pressure. And all of this needs to come away.
When I first started trimming cows' feet, around 15 years ago, very few people with beef cattle trimmed their feet like this. Now more and more people are realising that this is the route to healthy animals, and as a result, a healthy business. Cows who don't walk well don't perform well. So more and more we're seeing farms just like this one looking after the cow's feet to the very, very best of their abilities.
There's absolutely no question at all that a cow's foot like this would turn problematic fairly quickly. Right. Lovely. You see, these cows have been outside on soft pastures, and when they come inside, they're being really, really well looked after because it's coming close to the calving period. But because they're inside, the feet don't wear very much because they're not walking as much as they normally would, which is when you get this underwear and problems start to occur. Right, next cow.
Cows like routine, and this isn't a normal day on the farm here. Hoof trimmers do not attend farms like this on a week-to-week basis, so the cows know that something's up, which is part of the reason there's so much noise in the background.
Again, the same issue, but just a little bit more overgrowth.
We're clearly not removing all that much hoof horn. We're not taking that much off. But what we are removing is vitally important. We're returning the balance of these claws so that as much of the weight of this cow is spread across as much of the hoof horn as possible. That way we don't create any pinch points, and as a result, we keep the cow's feet in as good an order as possible.
It's lovely trimming cow's feet like this, because you know you're really, really doing them a good turn. I'll rub it with the farmer is because he's the one who's employed your services to come and do these. Lovely.
Every single time I trim a cow's foot, I'm thinking what I can do to make her more comfortable and to make her feet more functional for her. The only difference today is I'm trimming at one of my best friend's farms, and I'm acutely aware that these cows are his livelihood. I'm always aware of that. But today, more than most, I really want to do the absolute best job possible that I can for him and for his cows. We've only done a few cows, but things are going nice and smoothly. Yes, the cows are a little wound up, and as a result, making more noise than usual, but I'm thankful that it's gone so smoothly so far.
And again, can you see a theme here?
More and more I find myself showing you routine trims, cow's feet just like this, that just need a little rebalance. I'm acutely aware that you guys who follow this channel like to look at the more complex cases. I do as well, to be honest. They're the ones I prefer to deal with, because they keep me interested, they push my knowledge and challenge my skills. But I'm aware I need to be balanced and show the true face of hoof trimming here in the UK right now. This is where the money is. This is the vast majority of my work. I'm also very keen to show you how much care farmers like this one take when they're looking after their cows. Farming isn't a job like hoof trimming. Farming is a way of life, and these cows are the lifeblood of that life. Someone asked in a recent video, do beef cows have better feet than dairy cows? And the simple answer is, yes, they do. Just like humans, cows carry reserves of fat through their entire body, and their feet are not immune to those reserves of fat. They have a thing called the digital cushion, which is made up of fat, and it's thicker in beef cows.
You see, it's little issues like this that we're trying to catch before they really materialise into major problems. That's the start of a white line lesion, problem, crack. And look, it has now come to absolutely nothing before it's ever caused any issue. That is exactly what we're wanting.
This fat pad or digital cushion literally dissipates the forces going through cows' feet and stop them from forming the lesions that can be so painful.
And here is a really good example of something that we don't talk about that often: genetics. This cow is genetically predetermined to have bad feet. That seems really weird to say and have her here, but her mother is a few cows back, and she didn't start showing signs of this until this calf was already born, and now every year her feet grow back like this, and it's our job to get them back to looking relatively normal.
Wait, you said he did start showing signs as this calf was already born. Were you talking about this or the mother?
This one.
So that didn't make sense.
The calf. Yeah, it does.
You said about the mother didn't start showing signs of this until the calf was already
That made perfect sense, didn't it?
I don't think it did.
It did make sense.
I don't think it did. We've had this.
It did
This
make
happened
sense.
before. No, it
It made
didn't.
sense.
You said you were talking about the calf.
Yeah, I'm
Or
talking
you
about
talking
the
about the
calf.
mother.
No, I said this calf.
I know you said the mother. Didn't you start having this problem till this calf was born?
Yes, that's right.
Aye, so that's the mother back there.
Yes.
And this is the calf here.
Yes.
So you said the mother.
After this, the mum's back there.
Aye,
After
but then
this,
you were talking about that.
After this calf was born, the mum's feet started getting sore.
Aye.
So before she was born, she didn't have bad feet, did she?
What, the mother?
Yes, the mum!
Aye, but you didn't. You're talking about this one.
They're both got bad feet.
Aye.
It makes sense.
I don't know.
And just like that, with Graham's little input, we're all probably just as confused as each other. I know I am, for one. I start trimming her back right foot. I know there's not going to be much wrong with it, but I want to make sure that it is balanced properly before moving on to this very clearly problematic
That
foot.
crack, look at that. So the problem is her wall, the bone inside this foot must be twisted because her wall horn is growing around it. And that's this here, on the base of her foot, is wall horn, look. That's wall horn. And it shouldn't be there, it should only be up there, obviously. The bone inside her foot is completely twisted. So see this here? That's wall horn. Can you see that? Can you see it? Yeah. So her whole foot, so the wall horn grows in the orientation of the side of the pedal bone. So the pedal bone must be twisted. Right. Right. Now, this is not a standard foot, so they're more difficult to trim because you're having to constantly trying to understand what is going on. We're actually going to get the grinder and reduce this. But actually look, in there, it's full of stones. Look at that. Look at that. The end of the hoof capsule.
What you can see on the outer layers of a cow's foot is the hoof horn, or the hoof capsule, and within that hoof capsule is a bone called the pedal bone, or P3. That pedal bone is the same shape as the hoof capsule itself, but a lot smaller. In this cow's case, the entire bone has rotated, and as such, the growth of the hoof wall horn is rotating as well, which has led to this huge abnormality within the cow's foot. The reason the shell came away in my hand is because it's naturally shedding away from the rest of the cow's foot. This is not a usual foot. The anatomy within the hoof capsule itself is completely different to the usual cow's feet that I trim, so I need to be as cautious as possible and take things slowly.
You can see this entire foot is twisted, and this axial wall, instead of going straight up at 90 degrees, it's cutting away back like that. I love trimming cow's feet like this. It's a real challenge, something I relish because you can make such a difference. It kind of challenges your skill set as well. Clearly never going to be perfect. It is looking a lot better.
With this young cow's foot back on the ground, The difference is plain to see. It's absolutely unbelievable how much hoof horn we've had to remove. She had a very small crack on the front of her foot, which is why we sprayed it with iodine. And personally, I think it's remarkable how well she's walking.
And this is her mummy.
Can you see a resemblance?
Both have got problems up here, and the inside of this bone in here are twisting around like this way, rotating that way, and that's causing this hoof horn to form all the way under her foot and make her toe stick up. Right. There are actually special catalogues where you can choose your bulls to breed, and more they're including lameness as part of their kind of repertoire of genetics. And it's to avoid things like this. But like I said, James the farmer here didn't know there was an issue with this cow until her later years after she'd had her calf, which to me seems really straightforward. But to some people, they just don't get it.
You didn't explain it like the first time.
Anywho,
Just like with the first cow's foot, this one is not regular on the inside. The anatomy has completely altered from what it should be, so I'm working blind in a sense. I know where a normal cow's feet should start and end, but with this one, the rule book has been torn up and I'm pretty much making it up as I go along. With every little shred of hoof horn that the grinder removes, I'm reanalyzing the foot, trying to understand what I should take away and what I should leave behind. The black portion near the tip of this toe is a very clear sign that what is inside this hoof capsule is rotting away, so I need to remove the bulk of that material. I'm not yet sure at this point in the trim though, whether or not she's going to need a block. One thing is for sure though, this is a more serious problem than that of her daughters.
in this case, it looks like that twist has started to cause a problem. Just need a nozzle to separate her feet a little, but she actually has a growth up in there as well. So I can get in there now and remove this part here, which is necrotic.
At this point in the trim, it would be very easy for me to make a mistake. The tip of the toe here isn't an area you would ever usually want to be grinding away. Luckily though, this time, I've removed just the right amount. It's really hard for a cow to get the weight completely off the tip of her toe, so problems in this area mean there is no hiding from it for the cow, which is why we're applying this block. And this is a very long-term problem, so we're using a plastic one, which won't wear out.
Random one, but we launched purple hoodies last week, and unfortunately I think they've actually sold out now. But we forgot to launch the children's ones. There are the same amount of them as there were of the adults, so they could sell out in a couple of days as well. But if you want one, go on the hoofgp.com right now before they sell out. Right. This is getting messy now.
These are particularly horrible problems to deal with. They can run extremely deeply into the hoof capsule itself, and even if we do manage the perfect trim, they take an awful long time to heal over. I'm actually pretty happy with this cow's foot though. We've done as much as we possibly can. We've treated it with this antibiotical spray that the farmer provided to treat any infection that might be lurking in there, and we've completely wrapped it in salicylic acid to try to dehydrate those outer layers and encourage new growth. Now all that remains is for us to trim up her other 3 feet before letting her go and seeing how she walks on that block. It's been a long day. At this point we've trimmed around 50 cows in total today, and we still have another 20 or so to go, but when you get results like this, which go from being huge, overgrown and gnarly, to the correct size and more functional, the results keep your spirits high, and they keep you motivated to keep going. Speaking of which, it's time to get our heads down and get on with the job in hand. And just as things are going oh so sweetly, things take a turn for the worse. The second cow is really wound up, and they both rushed into the crush at the same time. This isn't a safe situation. The gate which keeps them in at the far side has come off its hinges. I'm trying to read and understand what the cows are going to do and react to it as quickly as possible. Luckily, this was the calmer of the two, and Craig avoids being flattened.
And that's how quickly things can go wrong. Your cows have got an attitude problem. We just let her go. When things like that happen, you just get rid of them as quickly as you possibly can.
And just like that, another day here in southwest Scotland is done. We can wash up our crush and our kit and head on home, proud in the knowledge that we've done as much as we possibly can for these beautiful cows, without getting well and truly flattened and living to trim another day.